Hey guys, it's Amanda and Baron on the floor.
Hello. How did this even happen?
Yes, how did this happen? And we are back again with Kickin'Cancer Cares. Our sponsor for this second half is Marianne McNally. She's a residential real estate specialist with Next Home Realty Connection. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or you're a first-time buyer and you're not sure where to start, where to begin, where to end, what it even looks like, she is the pro and the person to call. So her number is 503-409-4389, and despite the fact that she is currently in her own battle, she really truly enjoys what she does. It's her happy place, and it fills her cup to help you guys and better understand. There is no silly or stupid question, so please don't hesitate to reach out to her, and please keep her in your prayers. Thank you so much. Okay, we have Baron on the floor. I'm nervous for him, so know that. I just learned I will be going after him, so I'm even
What happened
more
during the commercial
nervous.
break? I do not know.
What did we sign up for?
Right.
I'm pretty excited though. All right, what do we?
So, Kate, you talked about hypoarousal.
Yeah.
And you told me there's some things I can be doing down here.
Right, so we're going to start with the hypoarousal. What I really like to do with my clients almost all the time, if they're in that state of the shutdown, kind of collapse, freeze, no motivation, having a hard time, even like just going out for a walk.
My whole last week.
Right.
Yes. And for those of you guys, we're on right now. It's Saturday, but the podcast will go up on Monday. So if you want to see what Baron is doing, I suggest you guys go to YouTube and go to Kickin'Cancer Productions and subscribe and watch this amazing video unfold.
This should be interesting.
Yes.
So Baron, I'm going to have you actually start on your back,
Okay.
laying down. And the reason I always choose this is because we want as little resistance to doing yoga if we're in a shutdown state, right? We don't want to have to feel like we're forcing ourselves to move when we don't feel like moving. So we're going to start on our back, and I want you to actually bend your knees. Yep. And bring your feet on the floor.
So keep your feet on the floor and bend your knees.
Yes. And that's going to help your spine return back to neutral, where you've got all the natural curves in your spine and there's nothing kind of, tugging and pulling on that lumbar or anything like that. Now, the arms are going to come out wide. I want you to take up a bit of space. Yep. And whether you choose to take your arms out wide, for those who are just listening, to a T position and relax your arms to the floor.
Yes, if you guys are at home, please do what she's doing and lay down and lift your knees and spread your arms out.
Yeah. And you can also, you can play around with the arms. So you can even do an upward V shape. So wide like a V. And down, relax. Yep. And not everybody has that mobility in their shoulders to relax their arms upward to the floor. So that's where we go out wide to a T, if that's the most comfortable.
Okay.
Okay. And then your feet are going to go wide apart in their stance, as wide as a yoga mat, which is generally wider than the hips.
Yep, you nailed it.
Okay.
And I call this one...
You're nice, you know it, right?
You're doing great. You're doing great, Baron.
Doing great, yes. I call this one the windshield wipers. It's really simple. So you're going to let your knees float together to the right. Yep. And collapse and just kind of fall to the right side of the mat. Very passive stretch, right? I want you to completely let go through your arms, your upper back, that whole wingspan.
This is not gentle yoga, I can feel that.
That's a
He
good
says
thing.
this is not gentle
That's
yoga.
a good thing. It's stretching.
Yes.
It looks,
Gently stretching.
I feel like your body's going to thank you after this. I
Yeah.
can already tell.
Yeah.
And then, Baron, you're going to float those knees together up and over to the other side, over to the left.
Okay, there's the windshield wipe effect.
I was just actually doing this at the chiropractor.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're just going to continue to swing the knees together, right to left.
How long should you hold the pose for?
That's an excellent question. So what I like to pay attention to is, instead of reps or numbers, to pay attention to the body.
Okay.
And we're waiting for this nervous system response, where usually people either it's like a sigh comes
Yeah.
out,
Mhm.
or maybe a deeper breath suddenly comes in. Sometimes even a yawn. People will yawn. And that's your nervous system finally shifting.
Okay.
And so you want to do this as much as you need until you kind of feel that, oh, okay, something's shifting in me, something's relaxing,
Yeah.
something's...
You know what's
letting go.
intriguing, Amanda, is the more times I do it, the farther I can get.
Okay, so I don't. For those of you that didn't maybe catch what he said the more he does it, the windshield effect from side to side, the more easier it becomes. Which I would agree. You're loosening up your body, right?
Yeah, I can
Like right
see
now,
that
I'm
he's...
almost to the floor, which I wasn't the first time.
Yeah, he's getting a little more range now. So
Okay.
before, where he couldn't even let that outer knee tap the floor, now he's got it resting to the floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that every day.
Right. Imagine doing this right when you wake up or right before you go to bed. I feel like right before you go to bed may be better. Or does it matter if it's morning or
Any
night?
time of day with this one.
Okay.
It's really a great one. I mean, sometimes if I'm at my computer for long hours, I'll get on my back and just do a few of these and just I'll
Okay.
feel restored, rejuvenated.
Yeah.
I need to start doing that.
Yeah, same. I'm like, okay, this is going to be added to my daily routine already.
And it's so simple, this one, but it's so highly effective for the nervous system. And I'll tell you guys why. So when we're in a fight or flight response or the shutdown, our body tends to tense up. And you can think of it like, what does your body do when you suddenly hear a loud roaring sound coming up behind you, towards you? You're not sure if it's a motorcycle, a car, a jet, or something, and you have no time to run, no time to flee. What does your body do?
Tight. Everything yes.
And that startle, you get startled. Like, oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
We tend to curl in and protect ourselves and our vital organs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
hmm So we usually draw our arms in towards our heart. We usually draw our head in towards our heart. And even our knees might hike up towards our organs and our heart.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a lot of people that sleep like that.
And yes, if you're stuck in chronically fight or flight or shutdown, you can find that you're sleeping in a fetal position.
Interesting.
I do.
That's a good indicator.
I do.
Interesting.
If you're
Okay.
not
And I try to be
sure.
mindful as to not doing that. Like,
Yes.
quit doing the little T-Rex arms.
T-Rex arms,
You
yes.
know, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we want to open up the wingspan. We want to free up that upper back and take up as much surface area on the floor with those arms as we can.
Okay.
And then the other is the windshield wipe of the knees helps to open up the hip flexors and the psoas
I can feel that.
right into the front of the hip. A lot of people have called the psoas the fear muscle
Okay.
because it tightens up when we're in a fear state.
Okay.
So we're opening up that muscle.
So now that you got me on the floor, when we talk about hypo, is it something you do for hyper?
Yeah, so for hyper,
Can we let Amanda do that one?
yeah, we're going to
Oh,
Amanda do
okay.
that one.
And I'm gonna take my headset off. I'll be right back.
So bring up that muscle that you were just talking about one more time. The
Psoas.
yes. I was just I
could
I
probably
just
actually
was dealing
bring
with
this
that
down
with
here.
the chiropractor. And a lot of people don't realize that how much that muscle, what it's
Okay.
connected to, and everything that it actually controls.
Yes.
So that's a huge one.
Yeah.
That's a huge one.
All right, so this is a different radio show for those that are listening because you had a little transition that just occurred, but now Amanda's on the mat.
Your turn.
I'm up here with the headphones. We did talk about hypo, as you took me through some windshield wipers, which, by the way, definitely felt it. Really powerful. I will definitely be utilizing that on a regular basis. But hyper is more common,
Yes.
right? And
Or more commonly talked about.
or commonly talked about. So it's something that you could show the YouTube, describe to the listeners, what can Amanda do to get out of hyper arousal?
Yeah, so with hypo, we started on the back because I want the client to have as little resistance to movement as possible.
Okay?
But when you're in a hyper aroused state, I actually want you to start standing
Oh.
because think about when you're in that state,
Yeah.
it's really hard to relax.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So this,
Here I am.
yes, this one is what we call body shaking.
Okay.
So, and I think we maybe even touched on that just a pinch on the last episode.
We talked about it.
Yeah, where our body does shake when we're in an
Oh,
extreme
I
feel.
shake.
Yes.
I violently shake, like uncontrollably, embarrassing.
Yeah.
I just had an anxiety attack the other day, and my husband, I was like, I'm just
In fact, we
violently shaking.
during
So
the
I'm
heart of
excited
COVID,
about
when we were
this.
trying to keep our education message going, we had a speaker that talked about humans are one of the few mammals who do not shake when in a state of arousal. You think about a dog that shakes, or a rabbit, or they all shake when they're in a stress state, but we don't.
I do. I do when I get angry.
Yeah.
So
All
you're going to show
emotions.
some techniques when you're in that shaking techniques, right?
Yeah, because we've
Okay.
been conditioned not to.
Yes, we've been conditioned not to shake.
Right. So we are actually supposed to shake off that stress,
Okay.
just like any other mammal would do, to move on and transition to the next thing. So with this one, it's really quite simple. I usually like to take the feet about a hip distance apart so that you feel pretty grounded in your feet. And you're just going to start to bounce through your heels. Yep.
Through my
And as you're bouncing through your heels, you just want to start to feel into your body. Feel how things are kind of bouncing around. If you have a belly full of water and you're well hydrated, you might feel a little slosh there. We just want to feel into all that ability to somatically feel into our body.
Okay.
And then you want to be really ragdoll through your arms. And so you can even start to shake out, through the arms and maybe out through the wrists, passive through the fingers. And breathe.
And for those that are listening on the radio, you really need to go to YouTube on Monday, Kickin'Cancer Productions, because you cannot see what you're describing. But Amanda is actually in this ragdoll shaking right now.
Yep. And if you're really in that fight or flight, like maybe something abrupt, big T trauma just happened, this is where you can really get wild with it, until you get some of that blood flow to circulate in other parts of your body. I always say with those big T traumas that happen, it feels like, 1,000 little pricks hit your arms and your legs.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the blood flow rushing to prepare you to fight or flee.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes your volume will be really big to get that out, depending on what kind of trauma or
Funny you mentioned those
situation
little
you just went
prickly feelings, because I think of I'm not afraid of snakes, but they just kind of creep me out. And if I see a snake run across in front of me,
She's like,
I
I'm
get this
coming to
little
shake
prickly
you
feeling
off.
on my arm, and that's the blood flow, right?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah, because I'm not deathly afraid of them, but they do like, oh, there's a snake, and then I feel that tingling on my arms.
Yep.
That's that hyper arousal you're talking
That's
about.
the brilliance of our nervous system.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So what she's doing will help get that blood flow correct.
Circulating, yes, throughout, and because
Should I go above my hands,
you
head?
can do in any kind of way. You can shake the hips out.
Now you're just
pick up
dancing.
a foot.
Now you're just dancing.
And see, there's a reason why dance is a popular, practice across all cultures.
Yeah.
Because we know its ability to help regulate the nervous system.
That is so interesting you say that. Cancer doesn't have any borders, and neither does this stuff we're talking about. And all cultures have different forms of dance, but they all have dance.
Yep.
That's so cool.
Yep. And the last thing I'll say about that one is just really relaxing the jaw and letting breath kind of.
My jaw's super tense.
Yeah, you want those.
The breath
kinda-
work. The breath work.
Yeah, out through the mouth,
Yep.
sighing breaths as you're shaking to just
Cool.
kind of let it be
Can
expressed.
you
Much
feel-
better,
can you feel the
yes,
effects?
yeah.
Discharge the
Absolutely.
energy. You're discharging the energy, right?
Okay.
Because we're mobilizing a lot in those fight or flight responses.
And I know the person that talked to us when we did our seminar, she said this is a great technique right before you go to bed. Because it'll get you in just do that shaking to get you in a good state to sleep.
Yeah, and you gotta listen to your body too. So for me, that would feel too stimulating.
Okay.
But for someone else, it might be just the right remedy.
Yeah.
And everybody's body is so different. So,
Well, one thing I would love to do, because we do have some time, is what happens if you can't figure out whether you're hyper or hypo, this kind of combination thing. Can we bring one more person onto the bed?
yeah, that would be great.
Okay, Ashley's coming out from behind the camera. Ashley's going to join us on
We'll
that.
switch it up.
Once again, we're going to put the headphones back on Amanda. You really want to go to the YouTube.
I just have to
Kickin'Cancer
say,
pages.
with Amanda though, it reminded me of the proposal with Sandra Bullock and is that Betty White? You know?
Oh yeah, you were doing some good dancing there.
Thank you. Again, you guys go to our YouTube channel, Kicking Cancer Productions, and like and subscribe, and you get to watch these awesome videos of us actually live.
Yeah, this has actually been a really. We could have talked through these techniques, but to come to your studio, to take this thing remote like this, and then show people. But people.
Huge shout out to Ashlie.
Yeah. This could not have happened if Ashlie hadn't joined our staff.
No,
So
she's been a godsend.
Yeah, but sometimes I don't know if I'm in hyper or hypo,
Yeah.
and there's some techniques that can help you with that, right?
Right.
So let's go through that one.
Yeah, so Ashlie, I'm going to have you go on your hands and knees position
Okay,
on the floor.
which way? Anyway?
Any way that you feel that the camera angle's
Right. Thank you for that.
That should capture what the camera angle really well.
Yeah, and this one is what we call the classic cat-cow in yoga. If anyone
Would that be
is-
like, well, that would be meow, because then
Meow.
Yep, and this is
is
one that, we'll bring into almost every yoga class because it helps to start to get that flexion and movement through the whole spine. So you're going to start by letting your belly hammock and drop and arching your back. And I want you to bring your knees in a little bit so they're right underneath your hips. Yep. So we've got, for those that are just listening, we've got hands right underneath the shoulders, shoulder distance apart, fingers spread, and we've got knees right underneath the hips. And you're going to let the belly hammock and drop so that there's a natural arch in your lumbar. You're going to take your shoulders and plug them back. Yeah. And she's already doing this beautifully here.
She is.
Yeah.
We're trying to
also-
breathe into it too.
You do this?
Yes.
You do this for
I think you've done this already before.
I know.
It's been a while, but yes, I have my
Okay,
it's time to
okay.
take it back out.
And because she already knows this one, she's stretching her chin forward. And so what we're doing here is we're stretching the front of the spine from chin to heart to navel to pubic bone, making that one long line.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now she's going to do the opposite. She's going to push down through her arms, tuck her tail, and round her back, and round it as much as she can, the spine into a little ball shape.
Okay.
And now here we're stretching the back of the spine. We're bringing the pubic bone and the crown closer together to really stretch the dorsal side of the spine.
Okay.
And then you're going to just come in and out through that. So inhaling to arch your back, drop your belly. Nice.
That's the hard part, is being mindful in it.
Yes.
Well, and so I'm glad you brought that up, Ashley, because I think the mindful is really important. I know when I was doing mine, I could hear you guys, but my mind was thinking to the left, to the right. I was trying to stay mindful of what I was doing.
Yeah.
And like Ashley just said, stay mindful into the moment you're doing. Don't let everything around you distract you.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, don't hesitate to slow down, too. We really do want to slow things way down in our practice. And yeah, Ashley's already so proficient at this. It's
She
lovely.
is.
She's got a great posture,
And I
great alignment.
can see where the right kind of music would also help you kind of get mindful with this thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's pretty apparent that Ashley's done this more than once before. Yeah.
I need to start doing
Way
it
to show
more.
us up, Ashley. You could have let us know and we could have practiced.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I showed up
She's making
barefoot.
us look like fools.
I showed up
over here,
barefoot though.
Yeah, she did barefoot. She did barefoot. Yeah. Well, go ahead, Kate.
And then just the last is the breath here. So as Ashlie arches her spine, she's going to inhale and breathe in.
Okay.
And as she rounds her spine, she's going to breathe out. So inhaling to arch.
Okay.
Exhaling to tuck the tail and
Yeah.
round the spine.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, while you're finishing that up, I just want to run back to this book real quick because I think this is such a powerful statement. Again, this is the anti-canceling book. And Dr. Cohen actually refers to his grandmother, who was a yogini.
A yogini.
That's kind of a cool word. But he does say that yoga imparts body awareness. I think we've all kind of experienced that.
Yeah, yeah.
Flexibility, helps cancer patients sleep, improves your mood, reduces fatigue, increases physical functioning, and helps regulate stress hormones. In the few minutes I did it, I could feel that happening.
Same, absolutely.
And the
just
breathing with your oxygen.
Yeah, the
intake,
breathing,
too.
and then just the mindfulness, like you said again. It made me more, when I was focusing on everything, it made me more aware of my body and clenching my jaw and releasing that, and then remembering to breathe. May sound silly, but remembering to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we forget all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was really critical for me as I was doing that windshield wiper, because I would breathe to the left, I would breathe to the right.
Yeah.
And I know when I'm in a stressful situation, it's easy just to not breathe, you know?
Yeah.
And I get reminded quite often by a chiropractor to breathe through the pain, but that's what you need to do, is breathe through what's happening.
Breathe through everything.
Yeah.
Breathe through life.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's a great motto to have.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Kate, for the demonstrations.
Yes, that was fun.
Yeah, we do have a timeline. I know I've got a few minutes here, but as Kickin'Cancer began to develop out, it was early 2022. I did a polar plunge. I was interviewed by Amanda at that polar plunge, and there was something in our exchange of words. I thought there might be some chemistry here for a radio show. So I went to Jackie, who's the manager of the station. I kind of pitched the idea to her, and she said, "Well, let's do a pilot. Let's try it out." So it was actually February the 23rd, 2022, that we recorded our pilot.
Now, when was the polar plunge? February,
It was early in February.
February 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere in that line. So
Yeah.
that's how you don't let grass
I don't
grow.
let grass grow.
under your feet.
I think the plunge was the 3rd, if I remember correctly.
Right.
But what had happened was I was dressed like Batman for this plunge, and Amanda said, "Oh, you're a superhero." I said, "No, these kids are the superheroes," because they were all Special Olympics kids. And her reaction to my statement, like, there's a possibility here. So I sat down with Jackie the very next week. She said, "That's not a good idea." It was like literally 21 days later, we're doing this pilot.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And this
But
pilot.
what are your memories of doing the pilot?
So I was terrified because I did I did what we do with the ABCs, and that's all I did, which is my mini little interviews in the morning, and I was super new to that as well.
2-minute interviews.
Yeah, I was super new, and so we were doing a 30-minute
30-minute.
episode, and he was just going to guide me. So I went in pretty blind, pretty terrified, nervous,
Yeah.
scared, shaky.
Yes, right.
And then it was good. But I felt like we were really monotone.
Yeah.
We were finding our groove.
Yeah.
And then we took it a completely different direction after our first pilot. I don't even think we aired it. Did we?
The first pilot, we were trying to model after another guy, Terry Soul, and so we actually did 2 segments. We did a segment, which is 15 minutes apiece, and we realized it broke up the flow of what we were talking
Yeah.
about. So we went back, we did a second pilot that was 20 minutes long, and Jackie said, "That's what we want to do."
Yeah.
So then we start recording. Except if you go back to any of our podcast services, scroll way down, 240 podcasts ago. Podcast 1, 2, and 3, it's like, "Welcome to the Kickin'Cancer show. We're so glad you're here."
Thank you for joining us.
So as time, and then what was really interesting, Kate, is we had done about 5 or 6 shows at a half an hour apiece, and you got an email from a listener that said, "You need to talk
want more.
We want more."
We want
Oh,
more.
wow. I love
Yeah.
that.
So the listeners actually emailed Amanda and said, "We want to hear more."
Yes.
So we found a second sponsor to do the second half of the show,
Nice.
and we went to an hour-long show. But that pilot was a very interesting
Yes.
moment in
It
our
was
lives
good
together.
though. It's really cool to look back and see just how much we've grown and how we're still growing. How we've brought Ashlie on in the YouTube channel. We're continuing.
If
to
we
grow.
had done
It's really
this
cool.
during the pilot, we probably never would have done it.
I would have told you no. If you want to know the truth, we would have been
I'm like, "Oh,
no.
I want to do a show and put you in front of a camera." You would have said no for sure.
I would have died. You would have killed me. A heart attack.
Well, and the first couple shows, both of us were on the other side because she didn't know how to do the electronics,
Yeah.
and so Phil was doing the board. It was just a growing process to where we're at now. But that was the day we did our pilot,
Yeah, it was. Holy smokes.
and look where we're at now.
I know. Okay, well, with that, did you have anything else?
Any
I'm gonna
other,
give
any other thoughts, Kate?
No, I'm just grateful to be here. And
So the one thing I do want to make sure we do before we get done is we're in your studio. If someone would like to
Yes.
utilize your services, if they've seen this and they're like, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, which is katelouiseyoga.com. You can check out all my services there and read more about me and what I do. And also you can email me. You can actually call, text, whatever.
What's your email address?
So it's katelouise723 at gmail.com.
And if you guys didn't catch that, just email me, Amanda, at kslm.news. I will get you over her website, her email, her phone number, all of her information, and get you connected.
You bet. Thank you again,
Absolutely.
Kate.
Yes, thank you so
you.
much. That was
Yeah.
fun. Okay, huge shout out to our sponsor for the second half, which is Marianne McNally, who is a residential real estate specialist with Next Home Realty Connection. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, not really sure where to start, you start with her.
Yeah.
That's where you start. So her number is 503-409-4389. And we'll be back next week
As the movement continues.